My grandpa was always using his video camera to capture the events of our childhood and family events. It was one of those giant behemoths that sat on his shoulder with a black and white viewfinder and a red light flashing to indicate when it was recording. If he used it today, people would think he was part of the local TV news team looking for the latest scoop. Whether it was a birthday, holiday, Boy Scout cake auction, or just another day splashing in their indoor pool, Grandpa was there documenting it all. I watched countless VHS tapes, scouring them for footage of Grandpa to use in the memorial. It was hard to find much. He was always behind the camera, away from the spotlight, recording and narrating each moment with his trademark, deep, calming voice, giving the play-by-play with the utmost care. That's a lot like how he was in the rest of life, too. Behind the scenes, helping others because it was the right thing to do, never seeking praise. Some of my fondest memories include Grandpa taking us with him to help at Lions Club functions, such as Toys for Tots at Christmas, or when we were old enough, to help hide those huckleberry cream-filled chocolate eggs wrapped in bright metallic wrappers at the memorial field on Easter. Whenever someone needed anything or needed help, he was always quick to act without hesitation. Dan was telling me a story about when he was in Moscow and his car broke down. He called Grandpa and he instantly responded with, "Be there in 4 hours." Sure enough, a little less than 4 hours later, he and Grandma showed up with a car trailer they had borrowed. Grandpa and Dan pushed the car onto the trailer and they headed back home. My sister Robin was remembering how Grandma and Grandpa helped her buy a car. Come to think of it, they helped me with my first car too. They even got April a Honda Civic. And anytime I needed to move, they would insist upon helping, even when the move took me all the way to Boise, and they enlisted Dan to ride in the truck with me. Another thing that April pointed out to me after watching all those old home movies is that Grandpa would often call one of us out and give us a little spotlight on the video. Sometimes he would interview us and ask us all sorts of questions, always patient as we would just ramble on. He'd never raise his voice or correct us. He would just say, "Oh, really? What else?" And continue taking it all in. He always knew how to make us feel special, loved, and important. Ron had a way of making people feel that way, whether he was taking the time to have a conversation, telling one of his great stories, or just calling to check in and see how you're doing. Whether we had a friend that needed a ride home from school or youth group, Grandpa was always there to help. I can vividly remember riding in the back seat of his light brown GMC pickup, driving down Sully Road to take the Birdsall's home, listening to Grandpa happily, half humming, half singing whatever old country western song happened to be on the radio. It's the same tone he used when he was singing a hymnal in church that he didn't quite remember all the words to. Every holiday, birthday, or accomplishment was cause for celebration and a family get-together. Whether it was at their house in Colburn, at Ron and Jane's, Friedhoff's, or Nana's, Grandpa always made sure that everyone knew what was going on. These family gatherings were easy to take for granted at the time, but when I think back on those memories, I realize that they are amongst the most treasured. I learned the art of hooky bobbing from Grandpa too. In the winter, he'd pull our toboggans and GT snow racer sleds behind the tractor or the pickup. Just don't tell your grandmother to tell us. Years later, I would share this tradition with some high school friends. Rob knows what I'm talking about. In the summers, we would get to help him out in the scale shack at his gravel pit. Helping him would include printing the gross and tear weights of each truck on the ticket, but mostly it would mean shooting water guns at the truck drivers as they sat on the scale with their windows. Pretty soon they came back with super soakers and the fun escalated even more. All the grandkids loved to go to Spokane with our grandparents when they would have chiropractor appointments. Not because we liked having an adjustment, but because it meant we would get to blow a whole roll of quarters on the Terminator shooting game at the huge arcade in the basement of Northtown Mall. And we got to eat a taco time too. Grandpa made our childhoods memorable. From swim lessons at Sandpoint West Athletic Club to monthly excursions at the roller skating rink in Bonner Mall, he always wanted us to be happy. My grandparents were married for 61 years. Throughout their lives, they loved to travel. Once at Universal Studios, the MC that was there to warm up the crowd before a taping of Herman's Head announced that they were honored to have Abraham Lincoln in the audience. He engaged in funny banter, with my grandpa for several minutes. But of all the trips they took, going to Hawaii was the most special. My grandma loved the weather, the flowers, and the hula dancers. She always wanted to go back, but they never got the chance. When it came time for a 50th wedding anniversary party, Grandpa knew just what to do. He'd bring Hawaii to Laredo. There were leis and Hawaiian hats and shirts. They had their own luau in Ned Lucille's backyard. You can tell from all the pictures that day that Grandma was smiling from ear to ear. She was happy, and that made Grandpa happy. Ron loved people. Throughout his life, he helped so many people and never asked for anything in return. He just wanted everyone around him to be happy. I'm sure that everyone in this room has had their lives improved in some way because they knew Ron May. We all have stories we can share, but if we really want to honor him, we should live by his example and do what we can to make those around us happy and help those in need. Hold your loved ones close and help them to make lasting memories. Seek happiness in your own life by being involved with community, family, and friends. In 24 days, Grandpa would have been 84 years old. I always thought it was fitting that his birthday was on Christmas because he embodies so many traits that make this time of year so special. As author Thomas S. Monson said, "The spirit of Christmas is the spirit of love and of generosity and of goodness. It illuminates the picture window of the soul, and we look out upon the world's busy life and become more interested in people than in things." I really think that sums it up. Goodbye, Grandpa. I love you and I miss you.